joining us.
Thank you, Denise.
All right, I thought we start by discussing the perspective of Dubai from your personal perspective, because I know you are originally from UK, but you moved to Dubai 20 years ago or thereabouts, and you've been in the real estate business ever since. So what attracted you to Dubai would be the first question, and then how do you see Dubai having changed over the past 20 years?
Okay, well, I'll start with I moved to Dubai with my family in 2005. So Dubai was a very different place then. The population back then was 1.2 million. There were 17 international schools. Just to fast forward to today, the population is just below 4 million, and there's 260 schools with another 90 schools planned over the next 12 to 18 months. So these schools are businesses; they're not charities. So they think the pupils are coming. So wow. when we rewind back to Dubai, when it sort of first kicked off with the Palm, which is around 2002, it was all a bit of a pipe dream. It was sort of, Disneyland in the desert. Will it work? Let's see what happens. And to be honest, it was very, very successful up until 2008, and the special date of September the 15th when Lehman went down, which triggered the financial crisis. That impacted on Dubai heavily. Reasons being was that I'd say it was something like 73% of the market were short-term speculators. There wasn't long-term investors. There wasn't end users, people to buying homes. It was purely speculative. So prices went up exponentially. I was involved personally on quite a big level, so I felt the pain myself. So that was after the crash. That sort of, Dubai didn't really do much until 2012. 2013, 2014, it sort of had a 2-year period of being busy. And then really from 2015 all the way until the beginning of 2021, which was really the end of COVID for Dubai, they dealt with it very quickly. It's really been one way. I think that, Dubai, its name had already been sort of cemented as a city of the world. It's recognised as that now. And I think post-COVID, particularly people from Europe, the UK, Germans, Dutch, Italians, etc., everyone knew inflation was coming. Everyone knew that taxes were going to go up. Everyone knows that we're in this sort of 5 to 10 years sort of non-growth in the world around us. And basically, all it's done is putting Dubai on a higher pedestal again, because it's just made it look more attractive to more people from around the world. And the thing with Dubai is they're not reliant on just one market. There's a lot of Europeans buying at the moment, particularly Germans, Dutch, Italians, always the Brits. But we've got the markets, we've got the crypto market, which is huge, which is only going to get bigger this year because of Trump winning. And we've got Australians buying, we've got people from America buying, Canadians who they've had enough of Trudeau, although he's gone now. Some of their policies. So really, Dubai's become a worldwide market. And it still offers what it always offered before. It's still tax-free. It's still crime-free. It's still a very nice place to live, apart from the summer.
Wow, that's they did have an impressive growth. So from the speculative purchasing that you've seen 20 years ago, right now the investors are a bit different. You mean that? I mean, what changed in the dynamic of?
The difference. The only thing that has got anything in common with that market before was it was in Dubai and it was property. Everything else is completely different. So it's 65% of the buyers now are end users. So these are people moving to Dubai and they're not coming for 2 or 3 years anymore, which used to be, I do a 2-year contract, a 3-year contract, then I'll leave. They're looking to come for 5 to 10 years. They're looking to bring their children up here. So the market now is underpinned by end users of people from around the world moving to Dubai. And then the investors have changed. So now they're not looking to buy in January to sell in June. They're looking to buy in January to either sell just before completion on a good payment plan, to hopefully get a fantastic ROI that maybe on a 50-50 payment plan, or the long-term investors are buying to keep to rent out. We look at least 6% net rental yield here for long and short term. And we expect that to stay that way for the next few years, just with the amount of people moving to Dubai, and the market for Airbnb is just massive.
Okay, so you would say that the majority of the current investors are actually families, local people that have moved there with their families and are working there.
I mean, what it is, it's what's become more and more apparent, and this is particularly speaking to a lot of people from Europe, is that, years ago it used to be always, Dubai is tax-free. You go there to make lots of money, then retire. But now it wants to offer everything to everyone. So, for the Europeans, I'll give an example. I'm ex-City, so I used to work in the finance world. So I'm thinking to myself, if I'm working in London or Paris or Frankfurt, Geneva, if I'm earning $1 million a year, I'm paying at least 500,000 of that back to the tax man. I'm not seeing where it's going. I'm not seeing it's being spent on infrastructure. I'm not seeing it spent on the schools. And then they're thinking, right, I'm not happy living here. Everyone seems to be miserable. The kids aren't safe. There's a lot of crime. Right, I can move with the same company. I can move to Dubai. My hours change from 3 or 4 hours a day. I can still do the same job. I can still earn $1 million a year. I'll get paid into my bank account $1 million a year. And I can do that for the next 5 or 10 years, and then I'll retire. So Dubai offers that when nobody else can. Now, second to that, which people don't realise, and this is another reason, apart from it being tax-free and all the obvious reasons, the financial centre in Dubai is in the best time zone of anywhere in the world. So we can speak to Hong Kong, Singapore, Tokyo in the morning. We can speak to Europe during the day, and we can speak to New York in the evening. So friends of mine who work in the financial centre now, when they've moved to Dubai and they've changed the operation to Dubai, they've gone from a 10-hour desk to a 16-hour desk. So not only are they earning a lot more money because they're not paying tax, but their actual revenue from their financial business has gone up because they can operate for a longer period of time.
So you'd say that you've said that the growth that happened up until 2008 or 2012 is different than the growth that has been happening for the past 15 years or so. It's been going up, right?
Yeah, I mean the first people to buy in Dubai, were just they wanted to put their money somewhere, and then it sort of went into a good investment. But now Dubai is now taken seriously by the rest of the world. It's taken seriously as a place to live, a place to raise a family, and a place to do business. And that is it's all part of Sheikh Mohammed's plan. He wants Dubai to be the best at everything. We know that's going to be extremely hard to achieve. But I think when we look at what Sheikh Mohammed's been saying for the last 30 years, pretty much everything he said has actually come off. It's actually happened. So I like to say to people now, really, we've got to start believing him. He wants it to be the best place to work, the best place to live, the best place to raise a family, and the best place to retire. They do retirement visas now for the over 55s. They want to offer everything to everyone.
So how do we know that? Let me say a little story here. I moved to Dubai in 2022 and lived there for 2 years and worked there as well. So I'm familiar with the market and with the feeling of the locals there. And I remember that when it came to real estate, there was always 50% of the people that I talked to saying it's overpriced, and the other 50% that were living there for a while saying, you know what, I've been hearing this for the past 10 years and the market keeps going up. So the question is Dubai in a bubble? What do you think, being there for 20 years?
No, it's not. And the reason I say that is because when you look at where Dubai ranks in the world for the price per square meter, I can send you through the website today. It ranks 60th. So when you think of Dubai, it's regarded as a top 10 city in the world, if not a top 5 city in the world. But it's actually priced per square meter is 60th in the world. We've got your Hong Kong, Zurich, London, Tokyo in the top 10. So although the prices have gone up a lot, the reason they've gone up a lot from where they were before was because they were underpriced before COVID. Then during COVID, they dropped even further. So there was off such a low point that to us, they've just corrected to the correct price today. But when you actually look at the price per square foot or square meter, whatever your calculation is, it's still very affordable, and it's not the price of a top 10 or even a top 50 city.
Okay, so in relative value, it is still undervalued.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to buy them, if you want to buy in the Palm or in downtown, obviously that's got a Palm price, that's got a trophy asset price. But if you just want to get into the Dubai market, to get whether it's to buy to sell on completion or buy to keep to rent long term, I mean, there's still massive value.
Okay. And how long do you think this can go on for? I mean, like, how long can Dubai keep expanding? You said from 1.2 million, it's now reached just under 4 million. And I know that it's only about 500,000 people that are locals and haven't a UAE citizenship, basically. The rest are workers.
They're very pleased we're here. They live a nice life of luxury because of us.
That's right.
I'd say this is what we're seeing. So the population today is 3.8, 3.9 million. There's officially, the number last year was, there's two numbers for the last 2 years, 147,000 and 168,000. But let's just say there's 100,000 to 200,000 people a year moving to Dubai. That puts the population at 5 million by 2030. So as far as we can see, they're building a lot of property, but they need a lot of property. In fact, there's going to be an undersupply of the larger units, the villas and townhouses and the bigger apartments for the foreseeable future because of the families moving to Dubai. They haven't got enough bigger units. They've got lots of studios and one beds, but the family size units, there's demand for, and they're not building enough.
Is there any estimate that you have for, in terms of this undersupply for the existing population at 4 million? What's the percentage of the undersupply?
What we try and do is we don't take Dubai as one place, which is the mistake that some agents make. So, for instance, the same as you wouldn't compare Manchester to London or like that. So in Dubai, you've got your different areas. So the really premium areas, you've got Bulgaria Island, you've got the Palm Jumeirah. So that you're paying the full price for it, and that's a real price. But actually, to get in to the normal marketplace, you're looking at from $300,000. I think what's happened with Dubai is that all of the news stories from last year went in Dubai's favour. So we know that Dubai's been on this sort of 3-4 year run, and we know at some stage it's got to plateau, and we want it to. We don't want it to keep going up. But if you take a 5 to 10 year view of Dubai and what's going on, as long as you take a 5-year view on it, we think you're going to do very well. Prices will plateau at some stage, and there will be more supply at some stage. But all of the indicators and all of the fundamentals are just very strong for the next 5 to 10 years.
Okay. I guess that one of the concerns of some of the people, some of the investors, is that it's already so much building going around that that there is already huge availability of properties. Off-plan investments.
Yeah. We don't actually see that. For instance, like Arabian Ranches, which is considered a big villa community, that's got 4,000 villas. To me, if there's 100,000, 200,000 people moving here a year, now obviously they're not all families, but a brand new villa community of 4,000 or 5,000 villas, that's going to get swallowed up very, very quickly.
Yeah. And there are some projects that are being sold in a matter of hours, off-plan projects.
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen in the last 6 months, I'm speaking to people who've been in Dubai for 10 years plus, who've only actually ever bought a home in Dubai. They've not invested in Dubai. They've just bought the family home and that's it. In the last 6 months, they're saying to me, Paul, something's happening now. Something's going on and we can see it. We're going to invest now. We're going to invest into Dubai now for the first time. And they came here in 2010, 2012. That's actually becoming more common.
Do you think that the availability, the higher availability of mortgage loans now, as opposed to, I understand 10 years ago, they weren't very common. Could it be a risk or an opportunity for the market going forward? How do you look at this?
Yeah, I mean, for Dubai, there's a huge amount of cash buyers, so we can never see the mortgage buyers ever causing a problem in Dubai. I mean, the amount of cash coming in is unprecedented.
Okay, so you'd say that, I mean, the mortgage buyers are insignificant compared to...
No, I mean, Mr. and Mrs. Smith who have moved to Dubai, they've got a 5-year oil and gas contract. They want to buy a nice villa. They can get 80% loan to value, no problem at all. There's obviously, the Europeans moving here, the UK, Germans, etc. Generally speaking, if they buy a villa or a townhouse, they want to take a mortgage with it, and that's quite straightforward. The Dubai banks love lending to the Europeans because they see them as a safe bet.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I was thinking is if the percentage of mortgage buyers is high enough in the total market for real estate, and then you have some sort of crisis, then these become these buyers become insolvent. So
yeah, I think Dubai's got one of the lowest leveraged markets in the world. I really can't see that being an issue. I mean, if the banks were nervous about lending, they wouldn't be lending. And that the banks went through the crash here, and they're still feeling some of that pain. So when they lend you money, they know that they think they're going to be on safe ground with you. And they're bullish about the market. It's going to plateau at some stage, and we want it to, but they know medium to long term, it's going to tick upwards because it's still undervalued.
Okay, so if I'm an investor and I'm looking at the 5 years time horizon, where should I start looking? Because you said Palm Jumeirah or the premium areas are no longer undervalued; they are fairly priced. What's the strategy? What's the opportunity to start positioning yourself for real estate now?
I mean, it depends massively on the budget and how much you want to spend. There's the up and coming areas of Dubai and there's the established areas. But to give you an idea of the completed properties in Dubai, 87% are apartments, 8% are townhouses, and 5% are standalone villas. So what that means, obviously, is we know there's a massive undersupply of houses for families. So our investors who are looking at not just, say, townhouses, which they might see as a bit of a boring investment, we've got investors now who are buying 3-bed apartments because they know that a family of 4 can live in a 3-bed apartment. And so for all the people moving to Dubai, if the cost of the villas and the townhouses becomes out of their reach, their next option is a 3 or 2-bed apartment. So anything, what we recognise is, because we've got all the data, we know what's being built and we know which is in the market today. The first oversupply of any units, which we can't see for at least 5 years, that will be studios and 1-beds, just because the developers like building studios and 1-beds because they're easier to sell and they're obviously got a smaller ticket price. But all of the larger units, they can carry on building for quite a few years because they're going to need these properties.
So do I understand this correctly, that you're saying it's probably a lot more undersupply at the family houses, 2 bedrooms and up, as opposed to...
Definitely.
Okay. Well, I recall that when I was still in Dubai, there were a couple of villas in Damak Hills, and the same villa got resold probably like 4 times in 1 year, and every time is like 20% appreciated. So there was this strategy of flipping the same villa over and over, and it wasn't even rented. It was starting from an off plan until it got delivered, and post delivery, it was people just kept flipping.
Yes.
So is one strategy of positioning yourself in an up and coming community, for example, like Dubai Hills, because it's a huge, they're not just building an apartment, but they are building a community. And if off plan versus newly built, like what do you see that is more lucrative right now?
What it is with the off-plan properties now, they're just being built to a higher standard because they have to be by law. So we know that a lot of the properties that they built years ago just weren't built very well, and add the elements, add everything else to that. So some of the apartment blocks of 15, 20 years ago, you'd walk into the foyer, it would be a bit smelly, a bit damp. You walk around to the lifts, you just wouldn't want to buy into that building. You could have an amazing apartment in it. So what we're saying to people is, look, if you buy somewhere completed today, it might not be built as well as it could have been. You're putting down all of your money, 100% plus your fees, to get your 6 or 7% rental yield. Now, if we can get into the right off-plan development with a good payment plan, you know, a 50-50 or a 40-60, into a development with a good developer, with a good payment plan, ready in 2 years, which would be brand new, which is what people want in Dubai, brand new and better built, we know that that's the better investment. So like capital appreciation through the build could be 10 to 20% a year, rather than just getting your 6% rental yield. And then you're getting a brand new property at the end of it, which is worth more, which will rent easily, and should still sell for a profit in the future, which you won't get when you're buying the completed properties now, which just haven't been built as well. You know, what they're doing is what they build now, where there's the competition, the facilities are better. You know, the swimming pools are better, the gyms are better, the landscaping. And that's what Dubai does. They're always looking to go to the next level. And it's the same with everything, you know, and that's what they're doing. So we say, buy off plan, buy with a good developer. You know, when you pick up the keys, it's never been lived in. That's what people want. On completion, you can either sell or you can rent it out and take a longer term view.
In what are your top 3 favorite up and coming communities right now in Dubai?
So, like for instance, you've got the Business Bay area and downtown. So DIFC. So you've got Business Bay, which is next to downtown Burj Khalifa, which is next to DIFC, the Dubai International Financial Centre, which is, you know, growing exponentially. One of the areas we like is Dubai Islands, which is a new master community, which is effectively it's the old Dira Islands. Now, what they're doing is they're putting all new infrastructure and all new developments on Dubai Islands. So this is our take on it, and I can relate to this being an ex-city boy. You can work in DIFC as a banker, a trader, a broker, and then in less than 30 minutes be sitting on the beach with a nice drink and relaxing, watching the sun go down. So we think that's going to be extremely popular to a lot of people. So that's literally like 20 to 30 minutes from the financial centre. We could then go all the way to the other end of town, where you've got Palm Jebel Ali, you've got Expo being built, and then you've got the new Emaar communities. So to be honest, like old Dubai, the original Dira and where the airport is, that's a regeneration area. And then you flip over to the other side, the south of Dubai, you've got the new Maktoum Airport, Expo, Palm Jebel Ali, and the new Emaar developments. But then, just to not confuse you, but to just as it is, sitting in the middle of that, as you've said, you've got Dubai Hills, which is the most popular Emaar community. So really, all of the different areas of Dubai are covered for different reasons for different investors.
Is there any way that you can put a price range per square feet that, as an investor, I would know that I would do a good deal if I found something, you know, in that price range, for example? Or that's very difficult to say.
Yeah, I mean, it for instance, you're looking at now really probably we're looking at around $450, $500 per square foot starting price, around 1,500 dirhams. I mean, you still got your JVCs, your JVTs, where maybe 1,300 dirhams a square foot. But generally speaking, now like 15 is your sort of starting point for a good developer where you'd want to buy into. And that's in the up and coming areas. But then if you looked at your business space, you know, there you're looking at sort of 2,500 to 3,000 dirhams a square foot. More like, so I'll give you an idea, a 1 bedroom in JVC or JVT, maybe 1 to 1.2 million. That would be 1.5 to 1.7 in Business Bay and downtown. And then sort of Dubai Islands, that area, that'd be about 2 million.
Okay, that's a good starting point, let's say. Yeah. I wanted to talk to you about something that is not necessarily your area of expertise, but because you are there, you will know what's the impact in the on-site investments, let's say. All these conflicts in the Middle East between now Israel, Syria, Israel, Iran, there is an amalgamation of cultures from all these different countries there in Dubai. Is there any worry or tension that you feel there? And do you think that this is going to can affect the market in Dubai?
Right. So this is our take on it, or my take on it. So when Israel went in, we just waited to see what was going to happen. In all honesty, the market here went quiet for probably less than 2 weeks. It went quiet for a week. I think that if you look back now, the actual war has been far worse than anyone ever thought it would be. And it's had the only impact, rightly or wrongly, it's had on Dubai has been positive. Because what you've got is, for instance, last year we had huge amounts of Egyptian money, Jordanian money. We've got Syrian money coming in now. And where you look at the UAE is that whoever side you're on, whether it's the Chinese, the Russians, the Europeans, the Americans, everybody needs the UAE. It's like it's the safe haven of the world. To us, it's the Switzerland of the Middle East. If you look at Switzerland in World War II, all the different sides needed Switzerland and not a shot was fired. If you look at Dubai, the UAE now, we see some big similarities there because nobody wants anything to happen here. You know, when I take a phone call from someone in Europe and they say, "Oh, Paul, do you feel safe there?" My first question back to them is, "Well, do you?" Because I feel very safe here. You know, the conflicts and everything just aren't spoken about here. It's like, just don't talk about it. Everyone just gets on. It's just a collection of cultures, and it's right. Like, this is a great place to be. It's a great place to live. Let's not spoil it for everyone. Let's keep it as it is. That's how it is.
Okay. So if anything, Dubai stands to benefit from all these conflicts because more people.
Rightly or wrongly, it does. I mean, it's. The Middle East is such a big place. I say when people say, "You know, has it affected you?" and I say to them, "Well, you're in London. When there was the Yugoslavian war, did that affect you?" And they said, "Well, no, it didn't." I said, "Well, no. Well, Gaza's not affecting us. You know, it's terrible what's going on, but you know, as I said, rightly or wrongly, for Dubai, it's a net positive."
Okay. Well, I'm checking my questions to see if there is anything that I wanted to cover and we didn't cover. Anybody who is joined live, if you want to hold your hand and ask any questions, you're free to do it or post them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer it. I guess the other thing that I wanted to discuss is how about the other Emirates in the UAE? After Dubai, if you were to, I mean, I know your opinion. I know that Dubai is the place, right? It's if you want to really invest in something, you go and invest in the premium area, in the premium Emirate, and that's Dubai. What would be the next up and coming Emirate, you think, in terms of investments?
I'll give you a quick story on Ras Al Khaimah. So Ras Al Khaimah has been the big news story for the last 18 months, 2 years because of the casino. So they're winner doing this huge casino there on Al Marjan Island. My opinion, our opinion, is that it's going to be a village with a casino. So people are paying the same price in Ras Al Khaimah to be near a casino as what they're paying to be near the financial centre in Dubai. That doesn't actually make sense to us. You know, they're buying nice properties with a sea view, but to us, apart from the casino at the weekends, there's no infrastructure there. But literally, the prices are the same as Dubai, like 3,000 dirhams a square foot. If you were going to buy in another emirate, you buy in Abu Dhabi, you know, Sadia Island, Yas Island. But I always go, the example I use, I say to people, if you were going to go to Holland, would you go to Amsterdam or The Hague? And they said, well, Amsterdam. I said, right, well, that's Dubai. So stick to Dubai. I think Dubai offers everything. You know, the other Emirates offer something. They just don't offer everything that Dubai does. You know, and Dubai is the buzzword in the world. You know, it's about Dubai.
Fair enough. I agree.
Yes.
All right. Well, I see that there are no further questions from.
I'll tell you what I could do, Denise, because I know we just touched on it earlier. I can just quickly, because I'm not an expert on it, just on the golden visas.
Oh yeah, golden visa. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so with the golden visas, we've got guys here who do it. It's a specialist thing to do, but it's getting easier and easier to do. It's quite straightforward. They'll offer multiple different options now. You've got a 10-year property golden visa. You've got a 2-year property investor visa. You've got a 5-year retirement visa. two more which wouldn't have any impact on you. So for the 10-year property visa, effectively all the person has to do is buy a property in Dubai of 2 million dirhams of value or more. And I'll give you the
which
exact,
is roughly 450,000.
Yeah, I'll give you the exacts in dollars. Yeah, so for $544,000, the dirham's pegged against the dollar at 3.6725. So effectively, for $550,000, if you bought a property, you'd be eligible for a 10-year property golden visa. But I can obviously provide a lot more details, and our experts can when you ask. No problem with that at all.
Yeah, so just the advantage of the golden visa is that you can go in and go out whenever you want.
Yeah, Dubai's the UAE, they're making it easier. You know, they want positive immigration. So, you know, if you're a good upstanding citizen, you want to move to Dubai, buy a property, get a visa, it's quite straightforward.
Okay. Max is asking, how were the COVID regulations during COVID? Because the rest of the world was quite strict on getting out on the street or traveling, and whether a PCR test is currently needed to enter Dubai or a vaccination.
No, nothing.
Nothing
I think well, during COVID, I think lockdown was a semi-lockdown was about 6 weeks. I don't know how serious it was taken. They sort of come out of COVID. I think those, you know, the UAE and Israel were the first two places to come out of COVID, beginning of 2021. Yeah, it's not an issue here.
I remember that in Romania during COVID, it was a sort of a scandal that the UAE all of a sudden opened its borders for tourism, and everybody was like, I mean, the media, not the people, but the media made it sound like, oh, they are so terrible that they are expecting tourists when we are in the middle of the big crisis, and they basically opened up the borders to tourism.
And what it did was it made a lot of people who'd never been to Dubai come to Dubai and realize how good it was, and then tell all their friends.
Exactly. Yeah. Stefano is asking whether do you suggest to buy real estate, I assume, as a private person or through a company, through an LLC, in terms of cost and benefits? What is it better?
That's purely on a case-by-case basis, and that will be to the tax rules in your own country. So we've got experts who can deal with that. So, and they will advise. So they will say you're better off doing it in a company name, or you're better off doing it in a personal name. But you know, that's one phone call away to get. We've got business setup people. All questions like that, as I said, depending on where you're from originally, that will be the answer.
Okay, Stefano, I don't know if this answers your question. Anyone else? Any other questions? All right. Well, I think that was it.
Lovely.
Thank you very much, Paul, for joining us.
And thank you everyone for listening.
One more thing important to mention, just for the people who will be listening to this afterwards as well. Paul has been a trusted realtor for both Chris, Andrew, and a bunch of mavericks that have used him to invest in Dubai. And that's why he's here. And also, as part of Mavericks partnerships, we discussed with Paul to provide a special discount to the Mavericks members. And that's amounting to 25% out of the typical commission applied to the sale. Do I say this correctly, Paul? Right, 25% back out of the commission.
Yeah. So effectively, so whatever the commission payable on the deal is, I will give back to that buyer a quarter of the gross, 25% of the gross. So it's like you won't get that anywhere else, basically. That's a deal done with you guys, the Mavericks, and us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Thanks a lot, Paul. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Lovely. Thank you very much. Thanks,
we'll
Anisa.
Keep in touch.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.